Hey gang, hey guys and gals, welcome back. I'll talk if you'll listen. Episode 30, wow. Hey, first of all, it's been a year, y'all. I was on my Twitter, the Twitter, as the kids call it. And, Twitter does this thing where it's like, happy anniversary. And it's been 1 year. And I was thinking like, I had Twitter longer than a year, but I forgot. I didn't realize I was actually on my idol profile, and not my personal profile. And I thought about wow, I made this like the same week that I started the show, like the first episode or like the second episode or something like that. And I remember starting this the last week of January 2018, and it's been a year, technically over a year, 30 episodes. I am amazed that this has gotten this far. This is super fun for me, will always be fun for me, and it's a nice hobby. It's something cool to have. I record this in my kitchen. If you're a newer listener, you don't know that. I record this in my kitchen and do everything that I can do to make this sound great. I've watched videos to teach myself how to edit and how to mix and try my best at mastering. I've partnered with different people to help me bring, better sound quality. I've started a Patreon to help me get a better mic. I've done so many things since January. I've created an email address. I have an Instagram. I've had people write into the show. I have people taking polls, and it's been just amazing. It's been amazing. I took a minute earlier in this week to reflect just back on this whole year, not only just my life, but just how different things are. And of course, at the forefront of those thoughts was the podcast and how far it's come. And I recently got into Bill Burr's podcast, the Monday Morning Podcast, and it's pretty cool. Bill Burr is one of my favorite comedians, if not my favorite comedian of all time. And he's just pretty dope. And I love his perspective on life. I love his presentation. I love how much of a jerk he is. And I'm probably saying that because he's not a jerk to me, right? I love how much of a jerk to other people he is. And I've known that he's had a podcast for quite some time, but I just recently got into it. And how I got into it was through a YouTube show called Hot Ones, where this one guy sits other people down and has wings, some hot ass wings. It gets progressively hotter. And Bill Burr was on the episode, and he's talking a bit about his podcast, and he mentioned how, he got into podcasting pretty early before the whole podcast boom. And this is before podcasts was really accessible, and Bill Burr's been doing it for quite some time. And he said that, he would like to think that he's grown as a podcaster and he really enjoys doing it. And it kind of made me think about how much fun I have talking to you all. And Bill Burr have guests on every now and again, but he primarily does it by himself like I do. So you can imagine how much I related to that. And it's really cool when you hear someone who's really established and who's been doing it for years and is famous in his own right, not just from being a podcaster, but from just being him, being a stand-up comedian. He writes and stars in F is for Family on Netflix. So he's been in movies. He's been on the Chappelle Show. Obviously, Bill Burr is huge, and he's been around. He did Madison Square Garden, which is a huge feat for any entertainer, any performer, let alone a stand-up comedian. And for him to sit back and think about how far he's come as a podcaster, I think that says a lot. And it really helped confirm a lot for me personally. So I don't congratulate myself often, but I'm going to have the audacity to congratulate myself now to say a job well done on doing something that was just a thought back in October 2016 and kind of manifested itself into an idea in January 2017. And then I put out my very first, it wasn't bad. But if you listen to some of my later stuff and then go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2, you're like, damn, Tim, you You came a long way. Yes, I have. Yes, I have, my friend. So yes, I'm really excited to be doing episode 30. I'm really happy and humbled to be able to say that I have 30 episodes out. I'm happy and humbled to be able to say I'm on more than one platform. And I'm happy and humbled to say that you all have been a part of this almost just as much as I have been a part of this. And I can't wait and see what 2019 has in store for the show. And I'm really looking forward to the future. That being said, I'm going to be all over the place today, everybody. I couldn't think of like one long topic, and just several like short topics that I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to try to bring them all in together. And I want to first talk about R. Kelly. So if you've been living under a rock, there's been a lot of media surrounding R. Kelly, media coverage, I should say, surrounding R. Kelly, in his involvement with younger women and his behavior around them, often having to do with a sexual nature. Now, although I am about bringing, making certain perspectives and issues aware, I'm a big fan of doing your own legwork. So go do your own legwork and read into the story, look at the docuseries that came out, Surviving R. Kelly, look at all the allegations and, charges that have been brought up against him. But you can kind of paint the picture, listen to some of his music, and everything indicates that he literally does believe that they are young, but they are also ready. So I would say go check that out. Go look for that. Please don't make me do the work for you. I used to work in retail. And one of the things I used to hate is when people would call the store and ask like questions they could simply Google. And like, I've been working there for a really long time. So early on, it was kind of understandable, but I'm talking like, this isn't like 2001. This isn't like 98. Where you couldn't do that. This was like modern times. Like, granted, like I left that company in 2016. So this isn't that long ago. And people would straight up call the store for something they could just straight up Google. So don't be that guy or girl, y'all. Don't wait for me to come and give you some new revelation or some new angle from this R. Kelly story. Go and look it up yourself. Hell, you can pause it right here now at the 7 or 8 minute mark, wherever I'm at, and go and look it up for more context and then come back to it. But the reason I wanted you to add more context, if you don't already, is there's some sort of shift. Now, we can all agree that nowadays it's like you're going to get crucified if you have an opinion on anything, especially if it's an unpopular opinion. If you got an opinion on body image, which we'll talk about later, actually. If you got an opinion on obesity, if you got an opinion on religious or political beliefs, if you got an opinion on sexual misconduct beliefs and allegations, et cetera, et cetera. Hell, Chris Brown just actually went through something like that in Paris. You like get crucified if you share the opinion that the vocal majority have. And I want to be very clear. I spoke about this before. And if you're close friends of mine, like if you're like a Charles or an Amanda or a Bree, like, or a Ryan, if you're a close friend of mine and I talk to you on a regular basis, you know that I oftentimes, will voice my opinion, and it's usually the unpopular opinion, right? But most people, believe it or not, are aware that sometimes the vocal majority is actually the whole minority. So in other words, like something will happen. Oh, hey fridge, how's it? My fridge just caught on. I was wondering how long it was going to take for my fridge to. And this week's featured guest, the refrigerator. Hello, fridge. How are you? Like sometimes, like let's say you got a group of like 100 people, 200 people, like 50 of those people, 30 of those people, 20 of those people will voice their opinion on something, and they'll have, let's just call it opinion A. And, the other 150 to 175 people, like, don't share that same opinion. But because those 25 to 50 people are voicing their opinion, they become the vocal majority. Like, they're the visibility. Think about this, like, women, you've been grouped into categories just because other women are on the forefront of things, and you sit and go like, no, I'm not like that at all. Black people, we've been grouped into certain categories because other certain types of black people have been thrown into the area of visibility, and you sit back and go like, no, I'm not like that at all. You know, Asian men, same thing. You know, you've been grouped into certain categories. Old people, like you name it, anybody in any type of demographic, any type of category has been grouped into some lump sum of thing, or collection of things, not realizing that whoever the majority, like the vocal majority, they're the visible group. They have all the visibility. So people naturally think that everyone thinks that everyone is like that. Which couldn't be further from the truth, but it's just most people who don't have an opinion, or most people who have a different opinion, they just don't care enough to voice their opinion, you know. And just circling back around to the R. Kelly thing is, you know, a lot of people, it's this opinion that's going around where like, should you listen to his music or should you not listen to his music? And the vocal majority will tell you that everyone shuns him and they don't want to listen to his music. But there are a lot of other people that are like, hey, look, I don't really, like, I care about what he did as a person, and I care about what he's doing as a person, but I still enjoy his music. Like, they can compartmentalize, they can separate the two. And a lot of people can't separate the two. I was listening to Bill Burr's latest episode of his podcast, the Monday Morning Podcast. Go check that out, y'all. Like, I'm sure he doesn't need me to plug him, but go check that out. It's pretty cool. And when I run into you, we can share something to talk about. But he talked about how like some people can't separate the opinion of the person from like the action of like what they're doing. And the example he used is like some people can't hate Trump or dislike Trump and also stay in one of his hotels, right? Because they can't separate the two. They're like, oh, if you stay at this hotel, then you're supporting him. Which isn't necessarily the case. You know, some people can't stand the guy, but recognize that this is a nice hotel, and stay in the hotel. You know what I mean? But some people can't separate the two. Just bringing that back to R. Kelly, some people can listen to Step in the Name of Love. Some people can listen to Chocolate Factory. Some people can listen to Happy People. Some people can listen to Ignition Remix. Some people can listen to I Believe I Can Fly and say, yeah, R. Kelly is this despicable human being for what he's been doing or has allegedly been doing to these young women, but he makes good music. Some people can separate the two. Other people can't. Other people are like, I can't listen to him. Now, here's the one opinion that I will agree with. I had one friend who said they still listen to his music, but the music that is like is sexual in nature, it's tough for them to kind of like change their perspective on songs like that have changed because they're not entirely sure on, you know, what age group or what type of women or woman he's talking about in that song. So they feel a little apprehensive about it, a little hesitant on listening to that type of song. But there's still dozens of good songs and a ton of good albums that he's made that people just like, look, I grew up on this. This is part of my childhood. This is part of my teenage years. This is part of my young adult life that I grew up on. And this is something I enjoy listening to. I can't just stop listening. I can't just take that off, you know. But there's other people that are like, no, if you listen to his music, you support him and you agree with what he did. And it's tough for me to kind of like wrap my mind around that. So here's what I did, y'all. And don't mind the fumbling. I'm just going to bring this up on my laptop, my personal computer here. A lot of you all voiced your opinion on this. A lot of you all, I posted a poll about this, and I'm excited to share what the results were. And thank you for participating in the poll too, guys. What are you telling me? I'm not signed in. Hold on, y'all. Of course I'm signed in. You guys get to witness history right now. You get to witness me signing in to my the Twitter. I type like a grandma. Those who work with me know that. If you work with me, you know I type like a grandma. But probably like a sweet grandma who gives you good candy instead of the butterscotch and like the strawberry and those like nasty nougat things with the cream inside, whatever those are. Let's see now. Damn, y'all, what's my password? Hold on. Was that it? That wasn't my password. Hold on, y'all. Just bear with me here. I'm gonna leave all this in too. I'm not editing this out. Boom. Login screen defeated. Hey, do you guys ever get that sense of satisfaction or gratification when you're like your password is always saved, so you never have to like remember it, and then like you come across a situation where you don't remember your password or your username, and you're like, oh damn, and you get it like on the first or second try. You feel like you deserve like a freaking championship belt or something. I crown thee password king. All right, let's find this tweet that I tweeted. It's the only problem with being big on social media is, I'm sorry, not big. I'm not big. Who am I? I mean active. That's the word I meant to use. Active on social media is you gotta like sift through. Okay, here we go. Look how diverse my Twitter is. Here it is. It's right between a video of a bunny rabbit getting shot by an arrow and a Resident Evil 2 remake review. Yeah, right where it belongs. It goes to show you what type of person I am. So here's the thing. Here's the Twitter poll that I posted. Does your opinion of a person change if they still choose to listen to and enjoy R. Kelly's music? And a lot of you participated. I've gotten 264 votes. 264 guys. This podcast constantly humbles me. You guys constantly humble me. I really want to give a shout out to Jay Black. Thank you so much for supporting the poll. And I'm sure his retweet had a lot to do with the numbers, but I also want to thank all of you who participated it and shared participated it. That's that public school for you. Sorry, ENS. Who participated in it, who participated in the poll, and who also shared the poll. A lot of you shared the poll on your social media. You retweeted it. You shared the Facebook status. I really do appreciate that. It lets me know that I'm not the only one who cares about these topics, that you all do too. But just getting right into it. So out of 264 votes, the options were no, it doesn't affect me. Yes, they support him, or indifferent. So I don't have the actual numbers. I guess you can do the math on your own. But we're going to start with second place. So the second place was the indifferent, believe it or not. 27% of you said you're indifferent. You don't care. You're not even thinking about it, right? You're not even thinking about it. This whole R. Kelly thing has nothing to do with you. You go about your daily life. You probably listen to more Paramore than R&B, and you're like, hey, I'm not really worried about this, right? Or if you're really about your stuff, you listen to I'll Talk If You're Listening podcast, now available on Spotify. Third place, believe it or not, 24% comes up with yes, they support him. So of the three options, the one with the least amount of votes, now I want to you put this in perspective, only about 3%, but still the least amount of votes is yes, they support him. So I just want to go to show you about the vocal majority is the whole minority. I just want to really drive this home. So if you're listening and you agree with the whole yes, they support him, not everybody shares your belief. I know this is only 264 humans, but not everyone shares your belief. Out of 264 people, almost half, more than half the people disagree with you. If you count for the people who they don't care and the people who are indifferent, that's over half. of people disagree with you. I would love for you to tell me why you feel. I'm not bashing you for your belief. I just want you to know that don't think that your opinion is the only opinion. Other people, hey, newsflash, in 2019, and this is for everybody out there who can't have a productive argument. It's okay for people to disagree with you. Newsflash. So an astounding 48%, guys, this was the winner. This was the winning choice. 48%, no, doesn't affect me. That means 48% of you all who voted feels like, no, this doesn't affect me. I can still listen to Step in the Name of Love. I can still listen to Happy People. I can still listen to Ignition Remix. I can still believe that it's the freaking weekend and I'm about to have some fun. You know, so people can separate the two. People can listen to the music and not necessarily support the person. People can stay at a Trump hotel and appreciate the hotel and still dislike Donald Trump. Like, the people can do this. You know, people can go to like Boston and like chill and enjoy the college scene in Boston and hang out, enjoy the art scene and the food scene in Boston. But hate the Red Sox. Like, the two things can be true. I mean, you know, Charlamagne the Guy on the Breakfast Club says it often. Two things can be true. It's really important. And let's take a look at this thread here. Somebody said something really, let's see here. I still listen to R. Kelly. That's support. Somebody said that. I mean, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Depends on what kind of support. Not the kind of support you think. There was one more retweet that I wanted to share with y'all. That was pretty cool. I can't find it. Hold on. Wow, this got over 7,000 impressions. Oh snap. Thank you, Twitter Analytics. Twitter Analytics, making you a better business person. Let's see here. Replies, likes, retweets. That's what I want. But I can't click on it. I really am a grandma. Anyway, let's move on to Facebook because Facebook is telling me my session expired. So guess what I have to do? I have to log my ass back in. Hold on. Another round. Social media versus Tim. Boom. First try. I'm treating myself to some ice cream today. Let's see here. All right. So we're going to go to the question that I asked you all. Let's see here. All right. So I'm all over the place. Take a look at this. So on Facebook, same question I asked on Twitter. It's between the Long Beach graffiti video that I retweeted or reposted rather, and a Martin Luther King quote. Oh man, I care about important historical figures and comedy. Okay, so here's the question. Basically, same question. Does your opinion of a person change if they still choose to listen to enjoy R. Kelly's music? And my buddy John, shout out to John, John Schroeder, says, I don't have a Twitter, but if he pops up on Shuffle, I probably won't skip it. He's saying he doesn't have a Twitter because he couldn't go on Twitter to participate. That's where that relevance comes in at. But I don't have a Twitter, but if he pops up on Shuffle, I probably won't skip it. But when I hear his more sexual songs, I feel a different way knowing his preferences. So that's what I was referring to earlier. Like, yeah, you know, another buddy, John. I got a lot of friends named John. This John spells his name different though. He has an H. Throws in an extra letter for substance. What R. Kelly managed to do in music is one thing, but what Robert Sylvester Kelly does behind closed doors is another. I totally agree. So here's another person. See, again, vocal majority is not the whole majority. My my beautiful friend Melanie, she takes awesome photos, by the way. Indifferent. I'd have a problem if they defended his actions, wanted to see him in concert, etc. But everyone draws the line differently, and some people think there's no harm in continuing to enjoy his music. I totally agree. Some people are the same thing. Like, I wouldn't go to enjoy his concert, but I'll still listen to his music. My buddy Briar, shout out to Briar. He's also a patron. Thank you, Briar, for your support. It won't change my opinion of an individual unless they're actively defending his actions. That said, I'm personally not above boycotting someone for their behavior. I've seen Louis C.K. live. If you're not familiar with Louis C.K., go look up what he did. Another person, a part of the Me Too movement. On the wrong side of it, I should say. I've seen Louis C.K. live. I've probably watched every stand-up special he had ever done up until his sexual harassment became public knowledge. Dude lost my support. And it honestly kind of hurt. But I can't appreciate anything about the dude now. So same thing. Like, you can't appreciate or admire R. Kelly's work, like future work, current work. But you can still, I mean, that music is really, my buddy Al, let's see here. My buddy Al here. Not listening to R. Kelly music is like erasing your history. Mind you, he puts an exclamation mark there. He's very passionate about that. Do you know how many babies were made to his music? Question mark. How many graduations use his songs? Exclamation mark. He exclaims. How many dance parties used his music? Oh, 2 punctuations there. Question mark. Exclamation mark. We cannot like what the man has done and still listen to his music. People get so one-sided. The S and the D are right next to each other. Cut out some slack. People get one-sided on issues nowadays. I can think Democratic and still agree with some Republican ideology. Do you know how much freak nasty sex I had to R. Kelly music? There were a couple of songs I used to play every time a girl would come over and enter my room. I would have them queued up on my radio just for that purpose. The man is off mentally. He's not the only one. He's not the first one. We are all disappointed, but he needs help. He knows it himself. My buddy Will. I just don't want to support anyone who has molested children. It doesn't matter what his or her social status is, in my opinion. And my uncle Reese, he says, no, the art is separate from the person. So a lot of you can see that, the Twitter poll it's right in line with what a lot of you think, with the Twitter poll. It's just that, a lot of people, if they're louder than the rest, if they are more visible than the rest, that have you thinking that everyone thinks the same thing. Everyone thinks what they think, and that's not true. There are people who have different opinions, and people who are allowed to have different opinions. I personally think that, I can still listen to Step in the Name of Love and not support or believe or agree with what he's done. And yes, the man does need help. Take a look at Taraji P. Henson and Erykah Badu, who basically made observations. Erykah Badu in particular said she is praying for him. And at a concert in Chicago, R. Kelly's home city and his hometown, and the crowd started booing. And she caught a lot of backlash, of course, on social media, right? A lot of social justice warriors out there, for her simply saying that he needs prayer. That's crazy to me. That's like if, somebody goes out and kills somebody, I'm only supposed to say, I pray for the family of the victim. No, why can't I pray for the person who committed the crime too? Clearly they need it, right? If praying is your thing, clearly they need it. But it just goes to show you how one-sided people can be, and how the loudest one tries to speak for everybody, but it's not always the case. So I really wanted that to sit in, and I really wanted that you all to kind of like think about that. And I would love to hear some of your feedback. If you didn't get a chance to voice your opinion on the topic, feel free to write into the show. I'll talk if you'll listen at hotmail.com. No apostrophes. You can't include apostrophes in an email address. So I'll talk if you'll listen at hotmail.com, or you can DM me or mention me on Instagram or Twitter and just, hashtag episode 30, episode 30, ITIYL episode 30, and just share your opinion. Let me know. You got 240 characters to do it with on Twitter. I don't know what the cap limit is on Instagram, but hit me up. Let me know. I would love to read your response over the air or talk to you offline about it, whichever floats your boat. Now, a lot of this has to do, I remember having a conversation, and this is moving on to the next topic here. I remember having a conversation with somebody about why, like, a lot of these younger women found themselves in a situation with R. Kelly. And one of the perspectives, one of the angles that popped up was body image and self-worth, right? And how you feel about yourself, how you view yourself, and how that has a dramatic effect on your psyche and how you allow other people to treat you and act towards you, which is 100% true. How you view yourself is totally indicative of how you allow other people to treat you. If you feel like, you're not good enough in some physical category, you're going to overcompensate in other areas, right? That's just a psychological fact. But I came across this article about a body image survey, and it talked about results. And it's from Psychology Today. Let's see here. And it was updated September of 2017. So it's not too old. But it says here, I'm just going to read some of this article. For the past 3 decades, women and increasingly men have been preoccupied with how they look. But the intense scrutiny hasn't necessarily helped us see ourselves any more clearly. While as individuals we are growing heavier, our body preferences are growing thinner. And thinness is depicted everywhere as crucial to personal happiness. Despite the concerns of feminists and other observers, body image issues seems to be only growing in importance. When most people think of body image, they think about aspects of physical appearance, attractiveness, and beauty. But body image is so much more. It's our mental representation of ourselves. It's what allows us to contemplate ourselves. Body image isn't simply influenced by feelings, and it actively influences much of our behavior, self-esteem, and psychopathology. Shout out to those SAT words, by the way. Our body perceptions, feelings, and beliefs govern our life plan. Who we meet, who we marry, the nature of our interactions, our day-to-day comfort level. Indeed, our body is our personal billboard, providing others with first and sometimes only impressions. So apparently there was in just reading this article, it was like a poll taken in several in different decades, one in 97, one in 72, one in 85, one in 59, one in 79. So basically they talked about body image, and one particular survey from 96 surveyed about 45,000 people from every state, and also international states like Europe, Israel, Puerto Rico, Pakistan, and they got, a lot of different answers and responses, of course, but the results were very interesting. So here's another part of the article. It says, our statistical analysis were conducted on the first 4,000 responses, 3,452 women and 548 men, 86% women, 14% men, a much wider gender split than in our readership as a whole, which is 70% women and 30% men. So it just goes to show you that, and I don't think it's a secret, and I don't say this in a condescending way, but clearly, women care more about their image than men do. Clearly more women participated than men do. But the age was all over the place. It was ranging ages from 13 to 90, and people who weigh between 77 and 365 pounds. Let's see. It says here 89 women weigh 100 pounds or less. 82 women weighed 250. Wow, these some pretty in-depth statistics they have here. But go check this article out. But it basically said that, a lot of people, I think it said roughly about like 71% of the people who took the survey, care more about their body image in regards to weight, like just how much they weigh. And the thing I wanted to talk about in particular is one common theme, and you'll kind of like hear about this, see it in this article and other similar articles, is you get a lot of people who care about the way they look, and they're very self-conscious about the way they look, and they feel like they're not good enough. But an overwhelming percentage, a large percentage, they don't do anything about it. So here's my question I wanted to ask you all is, when should you hold that person accountable for the way that they look? And I'm not talking like a freckle or height or things that are hereditary that they got from their mom or dad, from their parents. At what point do you hold them accountable? My buddy Earl he's a fitness coach, and like the title suggests, he's very much into fitness. And he says, one of the quotes I'll never forget, he said to me, you can't blame somebody for how much weight they can lift, but you can blame somebody for them going to the gym or not. And basically his message was there is like, hey, look, people shouldn't always have the results graded. People shouldn't always be graded on their results, but more their effort. Sometimes effort does matter. Take a look at like a Super Bowl or NBA championship or something like that. How much you tried doesn't really matter. Did you win or did you lose? Are you a champion or are you not? But in this particular case, it does matter. Effort does matter, and effort can go a long way on your psychology and, like the article suggests, your body image. So I just wanted to ask you all that. I didn't want to spend too much time on this. I do have to get ready for work, but I wanted to ask you all that. At what point do you hold the person accountable, and how do you have that conversation with them? There's a common theme that goes around, like you really can't talk about certain things, especially weight. You can't talk about someone's weight in a productive way without them getting personally offended or without them feeling attacked. So my question to you all is, A, how do you have that conversation? And B, at what point do you hold that person accountable? At what point do you call that person out on their BS? And what can you do to help them in a productive and positive way, as someone who does care about them? So definitely something to think about. And I would love to hear you guys' feedback, you girls' feedback on everything, on that. Now, there is another type of accountability that needs to be held when it comes to body image, things like skincare and skin beauty. And I did have a privilege way back in October. This interview was recorded way back in October, with, my friend Chantel. She's an esthetician. I hope I'm saying that right. An esthetician. And, I didn't even know what that was until I did speak with her. And she specializes in beauty and health and wellness and skin wellness, in a productive, in a scientific way, in a health way. So I did want to hear you all. I did want to have you all hear what she had to say, and when it comes to skin health and beauty, because not too many people, especially guys, because they think that stuff is only for women. Your skin is very important. It plays a big role in your overall health, and I think it's really important to hear, to learn about and to hear about some ways that you can increase your overall skin health and your overall wellness. So without further ado, here is Chantel, on health and wellness and skincare.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Another week, another guest, another interview. This time around, I have a really good friend of mine, Tel, and she's here to talk about skincare. And I can't wait to dive into this topic. Hey, Tel, how are you?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm great. I have a huge smile on my face. Sometimes I wish some of these interviews were either face-to-face or via video so you can see how happy I am. But I'm really happy to have you on. And I can't wait to dive into the topics. And so first things first, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Enjoying my Sunday. I'm off. I'm hanging out. Well, I'm hanging in. So it was a lazy Sunday for me. And I've been really well.
Well, Sundays are made for resting.
Yes.
I'm great. And I'm doing something very similar to you, just kind of hanging out. And I had my high school reunion last night, 10 years. And I have a headache. Hey, I'm only old on the inside, you know. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I had a blast last night, and you know, now I'm interviewing you, and now I'll be hanging out with some friends later on in the day. So good weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. So skincare, why is it important, and why do you think it's overlooked?
A lot of people feel that, you know, skincare is a luxury and not a form of necessity. So when I tell people, you know, hey, I get facials, this is how much they cost, you know, their eyebrows kind of fall off their face because they're, oh no, like, I don't need that. I can do that at the house. But you're not doing it at the house. And that's why your skin looks dull. Or you're texting me or DMing me like, oh, I keep getting breakouts. Fix it. You know, it begins and ends with you. So that's why skincare is definitely a necessity. And it's a form of wellness. So, you know, a lot, nowadays people are starting to be more vocal about their bouts with depression or anxiety and, you know, trying to find small things to do to take care of themselves. And just even coming up with a daily cleansing routine. That's something small that you can do, almost like ritualistic.
So I want to touch on the point that you made earlier when you say, you know, people are like, hey, I can do this at home. And then they hit you up and say, well, hey, I'm getting breakouts. So I know a lot of people, one of my favorite phrases is you don't know what you don't know. And unfortunately, we don't have classes that we can go to in school about skincare. You know, we do what the commercials tell us to do, right? Or we do what our parents tell us to do. You know, we moisturize, we go and get the store brand lotion or whatever it is. And, you know, we moisturize certain areas and we call it a day. And I know for most, you know, and a lot of people fall into that category simply because they don't know. So I think it's more of not ignorance than it is lack of, you know, attention or caring, you know. So what do you think is the best way for people to kind of get their foot in the door to learn about skincare?
Honestly, if you just go and talk to a local esthetician, because a dermatologist will require you to have, you know, medical insurance because they're a doctor, but an esthetician knows just as much knowledge as a dermatologist, but you just can't perform like those deeper skin treatments.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
So you're just walking into like not any beauty supply store, but if you go into, let's say, an Ulta Beauty and they have an eyebrow bar, the person who's doing the waxing is usually a licensed esthetician. So you can talk to them about it and just, you don't have to necessarily get anything done, but they're very knowledgeable. And you can, well, hey, you know, I'm having issues around my jawline or hormonal breakouts. Well, what are some brands or lines that can help me combat that? And then that person will be able to give you a wealth of different information. But also keep in mind that that's probably that person's livelihood. So just buy some cleanser or something to support them. Because we all have to eat.
Right. So I think generally speaking, of course, you know, unfortunately in today's world, I have to preface it with generally speaking because I don't want anybody to be like, not me, I don't do that. But generally speaking, generally speaking, most men, when they hear words like wellness or skincare, they generally feel like it's just for women and say, oh,
they run away from it.
You know, they do. And I think, well, personally, I think a lot of them look at it as like a feminine attribute. Like it's, hey, I don't have to do that. You know, a part of being a man is having rough and rugged skin, blah, 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 blah. Or they don't really have the awareness unless a young lady brings it to their attention. I joke around with a lot of my friends saying, you know, most men probably wouldn't even shower or get groomed if it wasn't for women. You know what I mean? Because, and I say that tongue in cheek, but where the truth in that lies is there are a lot of things that we're just unaware of. So first and foremost, why do you think that is, that it seems to be like more of a feminine attribute? And secondly, what can you tell the men out there that say, hey, it's okay to take care of your skin? There's nothing wrong with that.
The most powerful tool in this world is marketing. So media, marketing, branding, all the health and wellness stuff has been branded and marketed towards women. Even growing up, you can probably remember commercials from when you were younger for Dove. There's always a woman on the screen. She's usually showering, washing her hair or something like that. It's always geared towards women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's always geared towards women. But, you know, you see a male commercial, they might show him in the shower and they're like slamming down the body wash and it's black. And it's like,
right.
It's like ridiculous.
Fierce. With the soap suds running down the side.
Even with the soap suds running in the bottle. And even with yogurt, I've seen a yogurt commercial. The yogurt container came in a black container because it was marketed for men. Like, bruh, it's just yogurt. It doesn't need to be in a black container. Same thing with skincare. Things that are marketed for women, for men, they cost more. I mean, it's like you can get the same thing in a light pink bottle, the same product, which is probably better, because within marketing, they feel like women are constantly like picking ourselves apart. So we need like 18 different steps for a line. It's like you really just need one product and just if you use that product every day. And then like having patience to work through and work with your products, because people want things to appear overnight. Like, oh, I want this blemish going now, or I have discoloration, so I need to disappear now. But that's not how it works. The hyperpigment took time to get there, so it's going to take time for it to go away. And what I would say to men out there, you're absolutely right. Men really wouldn't do a lot of things if it weren't for women. Like I did a study in college. Most men only really go to the doctor because of their wives.
Wow.
Or their partners. It's like, hey, honey, when's the latest time you got your teeth looked at? You know? And like, oh, set it up for me. I remember even in my family, my mom would tell my dad, like, oh, you need to go to the doctor. Or like, when was the last time you went to the hospital? You know, yeah, check in on these things. And I'll say men need healthcare, like men need wellness too. If anything, society has really beat down on men a lot. Like that masculinity stuff is really intense. To feel every day that, I have to be rugged, so I'm not going to wash my face. It sounds silly when you say it, but
it does.
It's true. It's true.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
And it's insane. But now I'm starting to notice a trend where, like, a lot more men are, starting to take notice and starting to kind of take their time out for self-care and look inside themselves. And they're meditating and they're doing things on their own. They might still do it for women. Like women like nice skin. So it's like, oh, let me go, see what my face talking about. Especially within our, like, black men. I appreciate them. Like, starting to be more intimate, like, less tough, starting to move away from that awful stereotype. They're like, black men are angry and aggressive and stuff. And it's like, no, they're really sweet and soft, and their skin should smell like honey. So that's kind of where I want to get into. Because a lot of my guy friends, they won't say it out loud, but they'll definitely message me, like, hey, I'm starting to get razor bumps with my beard. I'm not really sure what to do. Like, they won't say that around their homies, but they'll definitely, slide into my inbox. And it's like, don't be afraid to say it out loud. Tell your friends, like, hey, this is a cleansing product that I use. Like, bro, your nose look a little oily. Go hit up Tell, maybe she can help you with that. And just going full circle, back around to what I said, like, cleansing your face takes about 10 minutes. Probably less than that. That takes me 10 minutes because I'll be hyped. But even taking out a small little amount of time, 10 minutes, is just you in your mirror in the bedroom. And you could just take that time to, like, think, to plan out your day. You know, just if you have children, I know, like, kids, when they're younger, they literally want to be, like, up under you all the time. So just take that 10 minutes, like, mommy time, daddy time, just for you, you know, and let that be, like, your process. And then at the end of the process, you'll have great skin. It's like a win-win.
And that's a really good point. You know, especially considering the time for meditation, the time for self-reflection, both literally and figuratively, because, you know, you're looking in the mirror. But, you know, it's something that's really cool to look at it that way. And I think that'll help a lot of people's perception, because you don't have to just look at it as being clean. You know, you don't have to just look at it as taking care of yourself. You can look at it as, you know, like you said, time away from the kids, or time away from your partner, or, you know, just time for you in the bathroom, in an intimate space. And that can be really important. And I think a lot of people need that alone time, regardless of what you're doing. It doesn't have to be on a big pillow with cameras or candles around you and you sitting Indian style and humming. You know, meditation doesn't have to be that, you know. So that's a really good point. Now, before I get into some of your best practices, and I want to get away from naming some of the products that you use, only because we're not getting paid for any endorsements here.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? But I do want to have people to make you accessible for some people who do want to know what products. But before I get into that, I wanted to tell a story, because it proves your point on what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman. So we get constantly told from outside sources, external sources, regardless of who it is, whether it be your parents, media, school, your environment, whatever, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. And I'll never forget, there's a young lady I believe you know, actually, a young lady, her and I were romantic for a period of time.
Oh, you want to be messy and say her name?
I'm not going to say her name. I don't want to get in trouble. But a lot of people listen to this podcast, okay? I don't want to get in trouble.
Does not promote messiness.
Right. You know, I'm probably going to have a ton of people hit me up. Oh, who are you talking about? Because I don't think she listens. I don't think she listens.
Listeners, don't be shady, okay? Don't listen to it.
I won't. We all in the sun over here. So when her and I were involved, she would come over and she would always make a comment about my skin, because my skin I was lucky enough to have good, you know, the only time I really break out is if I don't wash my face the way I'm supposed to, or if I don't wash my pillowcases, you know, my pillows, which a lot of people overlook, by the way. They go, oh, I don't, you know, that's dirt, that's oil, you know.
You got to wash your sheets too.
You got to.
At least every 2 weeks.
It's very important. But anyway, she would come over and, you know, whenever we would be intimate, she would say, like, hey, you have really nice skin. She would, you know, touch from my face. She would always touch my hands. She said, your hands are just so soft. And I remember one time kind of diving in and unpacking kind of like what she was trying to say. And I asked her, like, hey, you know, what do you mean by that? And she was like, well, you know, most guys that, you know, I've dealt with or that I interact with, they have rough hands. You know, they're rough, they're scaly, they have calluses, you know, and your hands are just so smooth. And I remember asking, like, hey, is that a bad thing? She was like, no, that's just different. You know, I'm not used to men having that. And what she didn't realize is there was a underlying message there saying, like, hey, you're not supposed to have soft hands. You're not supposed to have soft skin. It's not really manly. And whether that was her message intentionally or not, she didn't realize that, like, if I didn't feel okay personally with who I was luckily it was at a point in time where I started to discover who I was as a person, and I had a pretty strong will on no, I'm not changing my my skin texture for you.
I'm not about to be out here rubbing concrete.
Exactly. You know, I'm not, you know, outside playing, you know, patty cake with the brick wall. You know, I'm not going to do that, luckily. But if she hadn't met me, you know, earlier in life, I would have done that. How crazy is that? I would have done that because in my mind, I would have been, hey, this is a woman I want to be with. And this woman is telling me this is what she wants. So I have to do this to be near her, you know. So it's really, really important that we understand that, like, hey, that's a preferential thing, and that's not, it's normal. I'm proud of my skin. I'm happy that I have the skin that I have, and I'm really glad that you're bringing the spotlight here on the whole skincare and wellness, and more specifically that you're telling men that it's okay, because again, if that was, let's see, I was intimate with her, I want to say I think I was like 22, 23, somewhere around there. If she had met me when I was in high school or something like that, my ego would have been in the palm of her hand. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you know. So walk me through your routine, and if you want to name products, that's okay, but you don't have to. Walk me through your routine, you know, the face scrubs, the moisturizers, the morning or afternoon or nightly even practices. What's that look like for you?
So every morning I get up. Well, let me start with my night routine. So at night I come in, I'm usually tired, and I cleanse, I tone, and then I moisturize. But then I also incorporate an essence, like a skin essence, that goes on before my moisturizer. And then I also use some serums because I have like clogging in my chin and my nose. And also, you know, as a woman, we have hormone stuff every month, and that brings about breakouts too. So the toner I use helps combat the hormonal breakouts. Because my skin is an acne prone, I don't really break out. But just my nose is kind of oily, so I use a cleanser for a combination skin. So every step with the routine is cleanse, tone, and moisturize. If you don't do anything else, just do those 3 steps. And then I put on a moisturizer that works well overnight. So I get up, I'm all glowy and shiny. And then in the morning, after I get up, I don't really do anything to my face because it's already clean. I just may do like a facial spray just to like reset and just like rework in that moisturizer that I already put on, and then I'm out the door. So my skincare routine is usually at night. So I do it as like a nightly thing. Or during the day, in the morning, if I wake up, let's say for Sunday morning, I feel like doing a mask, I'll cleanse, tone, put the mask on, mask off, and then tone again, follow it with moisturizer.
So a part of your routine there, you mentioned putting things on in a specific order. Can you help explain to some of us who don't know any better why you do it in that way?
So you have to clean your face first. That should always be the first step. Before you do a mask, before you do like any sort of product, you want to have a clean slate. So that way, at least like those surface dead skin cells are off, that surface level dirt is off. So your skin can absorb the product. Toning allows a balancing of the skin. So it balances your skin's pH level, the acidic level that you have on your epidermis. And it also helps with like toning and like evening it out to make sure like your skin tone is nice and even and clear. And then you follow with a moisturizer because a toner isn't a moisturizing agent. They do have moisturizing toners, but it's not really locking the products in. So you cleanse to get the dead surface cells off, then you tone to balance out your skin's pH and to get your texture nice and even, followed by moisturizer because the water in the toner is going to dry out your skin. So you want to replenish it with that moisture. And that's why you do it in those steps.
Look at you. Go ahead. Go ahead. You know, I like that. You know, not too many people can really explain why. And I think we live far too often, we find ourselves doing things because we're just told that's just the way you do it. And a lot of that has to do with our parents, because at the time and the social environment and political environment even that they grew up in, they weren't really allowed to question many things. Same thing with our grandparents. They weren't allowed to question many things. So, it was like the behavior and the environment, the culture was, hey, you just do what you're told. But when it comes to things like taking care of your body, your health, your wellness, your skin, it's very important we understand why we do it. So it's okay to ask questions. I think a lot of the times people are either afraid of being either disobedient, or they're afraid of looking silly or ignorant or stupid. And if you don't know what you don't know, it's okay.
It's okay.
Speaking of gaining knowledge, how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you to get more advice on their skincare and wellness?
Well, the best thing right now is message me on Instagram, which is tell_Frida. That's really the best way. Right now I got some new things in the works. I just came up with my company's name. I'm super excited for it. So that'll be happening soon, and then the company will have its own Instagram and email, and I can take your questions there. Limited 2 questions only. Unfortunately, like I stated before, this is my career, so I just can't dole out free advice, but you're more than welcome to come in for a consultation. We could do a 15-minute consultation, 2-question minimum. But anything after that, I gotta charge you. It's gonna be great advice and get you in return. It is what it is. But if you come to my job, then I can definitely spend time, and all the products and stuff are there. So that will definitely help out too.
Right. And I tell people all the time, there's nothing more important than your health. And even some parents, I'm talking, even scoff at me when I say that. And I say, well, hey, look, you might think the most important thing in your life is your child, but you can't take care of your child if you're unhealthy, if you're sick. Right. And not only do you want to be healthy so you can take care of your child or take care of your job or take care of your, whatever it is, you need to you need to stay healthy so you can help the people around you understand how important it is, especially if you're a parent, because you need to tell your child that, hey, it's important to be healthy. It's important to take care of your skin. So, hey, Tel, this was fun.
It was. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Another thing that I hope is that, the young ladies listening know that I don't bite. Because I get yelled at. Can I tell you, I get yelled at for not having enough young ladies on all the time. And I say, well, hey, people hit me up. The men, the fellas, they hit me up the same way y'all can. And I was my eyes lit up when you hit me up and said, hey, I want to do that. So I hope this lets the young ladies know that I do not bite and that it is okay to come onto the show. And I'm really hoping that a lot of people hear the message. The core message is health and wellness and to take care of yourself. And I'm hoping and even looking forward to people hitting you up to get more information about that. So thank you for some of your time. I really appreciate it. And this was fun. We definitely got to do this again.
Yeah, let's go to Wendy's.
Let's go to Wendy's. Let's do it. Yeah, we'll set up a time. I'm going to get we'll set up a time outside of the interview. I don't want people in our business to come pop up on this because, we celebrities now. I don't want people to pop up on us while we eating our 4 for $4, balling out. All right, Sal, you have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, Chantel, for coming on to the show. Thank you for your banter. And I appreciate you sharing some of your knowledge. Now, you can hit up Chantel in the methods outlined in that interview. I'll also include some information in the description below, and in the description for the episode. And I encourage you to reach out. You'd be surprised how much you don't know until you talk to somebody who specializes in that area. And you'd be surprised on how simple things can be to turn around and have healthier, better skin, to gain or lose weight, to help out your hair, different things. You never know. And it could just be something really, really simple. Like changing your pillowcases, something like that people just overlook. Like, just to do that. It's really important. But it's about that time, y'all. I gotta go. I gotta get ready to work. Go to punch the clock. And I'm looking forward to starting my day. I hope you all had fun listening to this episode. It's a huge milestone, episode 30, and I can't wait to talk to you all online and in person. In the meantime, as always, I'll keep talking if you'll listen. Take care.